Hi, my name is Allison Strange, and this is my English 11 lesson plan video. So, the learning target for this is that students will understand the power of a single story and the danger of it as well. State standards that align with this lesson are Speech Language 11-12.1.c, which is propel conversations by proposing and responding to questions that probe reasoning and evidence. Ensure the hearing for a full range of positions on a topic or issue. Clarify, verify, and challenge ideas and conclusions. And promote divergent and creative perspectives. So, for formative assessment for this lesson, I said that I and my students will know that they have successfully met the outcome proposed by independent analysis of the speech and danger of a single story. Socratic circle group discussions as well. The successful product and process of this lesson will be when students individually analyze the speech and then show their understanding through the group discussion along with their peers. So, success in this lesson and outcome will have students that are engaged in conversations related to the speech's topic about a single story along with their peers and show their understanding of why a single story on any topic is just so dangerous of a thing to deal with. So with this, the way that I would lay this lesson out is start off with bell work, promoting the idea of like what a TED Talk is, like have it, students ever watched a TED Talk, have they heard of it before? If not, what do they think TED Talks are about? After that, I'll give a brief introduction of why we were going to listen to Chimamanda give her TED Talk speech, The Danger of a Single Story as a Class, which is to understand that there's more to just one side of a story. Instead of just like we hear something about someone and we think, oh, that's all there is to them, there's other reasons behind maybe why they do what they do, or maybe it wasn't true or anything like that. So after giving a brief introduction about where Chiamanda's from, she's actually from Nigeria, and explaining why it's so important that we understand that there's more to just the background of a single story. So after giving a brief introduction, we would then watch the video, TED Talk of Chimamanda giving her speech, The Danger of a Single Story. This video takes about 18-20 minutes, depending on the version that I found, which the one I found was 18 minutes. So we'd watch the video as a class. Afterwards, we would then go into our individual analysis of the story. So after watching the video, students would be given a hard copy of the speech along with discussion questions that we would use to analyze the speech on their own in preparation for class discussion over the speech the next class period. Typically, if I'm doing group discussion for my classes, I like to give them at least a days ahead. Like I give them the questions that we're going to talk about to help give them more time to think about their answers and their responses, so it's a little bit more deep and engaged. So at this point in the lesson, when they have their hard copies of the speech and the questions, I'd walk around individually, which virtually you can't really do that. So I would just like watch, give them time. If kids have questions about a question, whenever they get to it, they can ask me by raising their hand or flagging me down. Now, students with an IEP plan, such as the ones that were listed in the email, such as Sarah, Luther, and Jaden, who have a plan based on reading comprehension needs, I would stop in to see if they desired or needed more detailed, like a scaffold of the speech with the theme and main ideas, kind of either highlighted throughout it to show where they show up in the speech, or in this case, a digital copy that's marked up with a little bit more details on it so that they can see where the theme is reoccurring in her speech instead of just trying to find it themselves. At this point, students will go from teacher introduction of the text to watching the author give the speech herself, to individual time, and then the next period backing into whole group discussion. I feel like this is a really good setup for group discussions and things like that because, one, it gives teachers' perspective at the beginning, author perspective back to individuals so they can gather their own thoughts on the topic, or in this case, the speech, and then to group discussion to where they have time to see what their peers think about it and to kind of make a little bit deeper of a connection besides what maybe they thought about the topic. So the group discussion of the danger of a single story will be used as a formative assessment along with the student's individual answers prior to the discussion. So those would be my formative assessment. At the end of class, now for this lesson, I probably wouldn't actually do a big summative assessment like a test or anything like that. At the end of class, though, I would take and have students do a quick Padlet discussion where they will fill out their own personal single story, and it's a template, and it has like fill in the blanks. Like it starts off, the danger of a single story is I want people to see me more than, and then they fill in the blank and so forth. Where they tell what people want to, like they want people to see them as versus how people see them already. And with this, it's an anonymous post. If you don't know what Padlet is, it's kind of like so back whenever I was in school, you'd walk out and you'd do the sticky notes on the way out the door, sometimes as like a check-in point. This is essentially that, but just a digital version. Students go, they fill out their sticky note, it posts on an online discussion board anonymously, and the teachers can see who put the questions up, but other people can't. So I'd use that as a quick formative assessment essentially for this little lesson. So the materials and resources that I used for this lesson are the TED Talk of An Angel of a Single Story by Chickamauga, discussion questions along with a printed hard copy of the speech for students to mark up and to do their own writing on and things like that. For this lesson, I feel like it could be expanded definitely into like a week-long thing, like go from like watching it to the group discussions and then back to like a writing prompt. So like the writing prompt, the students can go into like researching about historical single stories that maybe like impacted a community or people or any kind of topic. With this lesson, for like IEPs and things like that, virtually, I know it would be a little bit different than in person, but just ensuring that before classes started, I've looked into their IEPs and see where they're at and what they need, like supplemental material wise, and then going into helping students, like if they need a dictionary, a thesaurus, whatever it may be, or some other like website to help them understand things a little bit better. Maybe guided teacher notes for those that need it. I think though that to ensure that all students have engagement appropriately in this lesson, just setting up clear expectations at the very beginning of the lesson and like holding students accountable for their own learning, like saying this is what's expected of you to do in this lesson, this is what we're going to do, you're going to each fill out your own worksheet and your own discussion guide, and then going into saying, hey, when we get to group discussions, everyone's expected to talk. And by doing this, now virtually it'd be a little bit different, like doing the toss a penny in kind of thing, and like getting people, students engaged by discussing with each other. So virtually, like maybe they could virtually like raise their hand and say, hey, I want to speak, instead of talking over someone else, getting them engaged in speaking together. So the student population of this class, I'm going to pull it up real quick, was there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 4 actually advanced students in this class. There were 5 that were proficient, and then there were many that were not proficient and that possibly need a little bit extra help. So with this lesson, I would give students plenty of time to like get their own discussion questions together and to give them plenty of time to like think the subject through and the topics through and explore why the danger of a single story is so important, and why it's important to like realize that we need to, as individuals and people, not just judge a book by its cover, so to speak. Though with this is considering the aspects of a student population, so it'd be a little bit different of this. Sorry. With virtual. So virtually, it would be maybe kids would need a little bit more help. I'm so sorry. Maybe students need a little bit more help here and there. And they could virtually, like, if they didn't feel comfortable asking a question, like over the video chat, Zoom, or whatever it may be, that they could like message me through the video comments individually, so that they could ask questions and that kind of thing. With it having so many that were not proficient on the list of students that I received, like for this classroom example, I would definitely give them plenty of time to gather their thoughts together and to ask questions at the end of the lesson, just making it sure that I'm available as an educator for them and they feel open enough to ask me questions and things like that. So that is my virtual lesson plan for English grade 11, The Danger of a Single Story by Chiamanda. Thank you.